Hey man, how you doing?
Melanie and Shelby. Good to meet you.
Hey,
10 seconds, propaganda, big one.
My story is atypical. LA kid, South Central Los Angeles. I grew up in a predominantly Latino neighborhood. During that same time, you know, of the war on drugs and the crack attack and all that was happening there was also a burgeoning scene of hip hop. You know, when you're an elementary school kid, it's just as much problems that was happening there was like, what a time to be alive. And I fell in love with hip hop. I found that so much more alluring than sort of the gang culture that was around me. It's not to say I wasn't affected by it, but I was just drawn to just the culture of sort of art and protest and peace and love and unity. It was just a beautiful thing. Since the last film, I have another child, another daughter, so I have 2 daughters. And I think a number of tours that have succeeded and failed. I started a podcast with my wife. I released a poetry book. I think I've released 2 albums since. I've experienced some of the sort of greatest depression and anxiety I've ever experienced in my life too. But I think there was moments where I had to really learn myself, learn what gets me out of bed and what stops me from getting out of bed. The moment for me that really turned sort of the death of idealism was the death of Eric Garner. Just the trauma of witnessing men that look and talk just like me, like witnessing them die. Like we saw it, you know? And then to watch like no charges being brought on there. And my father was law enforcement. My father worked in the probation department. My little brother is a highway patrol officer, you know what I'm saying? So I have no animus against the concept of law enforcement. I think there was a deep wailing that came out of me. Why does this not hit my brother or my sister at a soul level that it hits me? Like, why don't you see an image bearer? If you can take camera and just keep zooming out as far as you can till you get off the planet. And wouldn't you know it, you know the word California isn't written on California? Like, you know, it's crazy, it's not there. Like, there's no lines that separate Florida from Alabama. Like, it's one thing. So if this is all we have, and it is alive, and it's one thing, then my survival, my meal, is intimately tied to yours. We're literally in this together. Believe it or not, my 9 to 5s, my actions are connected to their actions, and their actions are connected to mine. And if we're gonna get through this, we're gonna get through this together. What a world we would live in if, when all they could say about Christians is like, fools don't care, they just take care of folks. Like, what if that's what they said about us? Is that we had a reckless abandon to serve our neighbors. Like, what if like that was all we was known for? They say, I tell you what, man, I don't know about their Bibles, I don't know about all this, but I tell you what, I was hungry, fed me. I think of the blind man where he's like, look, I don't know what y'all call this dude. I don't know why you mad at this. I don't know nothing about it. All I know is when I woke up this morning, I was blind. And I know now I could see. That's all I know. That's all I know. Be willing to risk name and reputation for the sake of pursuing with reckless abandon love. Because that's what we saw Jesus do.